Okay, you're in the middle of a talk that I gave at the Canada EFT Tappers Gathering in 2013. And in this section, section 4, I'm going to be sharing with you the ICE method that I developed based on the memory reconsolidation science that I just explained in the last video. So I hope you enjoy it. Thanks.
And I've modified my method so that it's this exact thing happening. You identify an issue. As we did in the beginning, it's got three components. It's either emotional, an experience, or a place in the body. And if you notice, oh, my shoulders are going up, and then you pay attention to the emotion, it's like, I'm afraid. I'm afraid why? Because every time I sat in these things, I felt really like I didn't get it. Whatever. Example. You identify it. Now, when you move into a calm state, what have you done? This became active for 4 hours, but you stepped away from it into a different emotional state, a different chemical construction. Different peptides are being produced. In and of themselves, they do great things when they go into your body. You felt it, didn't you? That subtle, relaxed feeling that is actually so healthful and restorative for our bodies. In and of itself, that would be awesome. Okay? Meditation can often bring us to this, or yoga, or different practices. The one piece to add, and it's partly why I'm so excited, is just look back. And when you observe this thing that was activated, and you consciously come back to it from a different state, the peptide that's been stored since you were 5 years old replaces with the peptide at home. 4 hours later, glues back in, and it stays. It's just an experiment. They were saying 6, but then I read somewhere more like 4. So, we don't know about this in general practice in society. I ask people, memory reconsolidation, I haven't really run into a person that's heard of this. But the 4-hour piece, you can imagine, okay, that you have an experience. And you're afraid of this tiger for good reason, and so you run from the tiger. But then something else happens that, well, evolution happens and there's bars and it's in a zoo now, and you don't need to be so scared. Well, so there's a certain period when things are active and they can actually transform and be replaced. But when you don't know that, you run from the tiger, 4 hours later it replaces, and that is stored solid as a memory for you now. So you don't go messing with tigers. Or you don't go messing with neighbors that have cast iron frying pans and aren't nice to you. Or whatever thing happened, the many things that happened when we were young, that we did in response such that we would be safe. And they were a great solution for the 2-year-old. And then our brain just says, well, it worked as a 2-year-old, it must work when I'm 50. Which is like, oh, you know, whatever the response was, it was great when it's 2. Once in a while it's good when we're 50, but it's not always good. Sometimes it's a terrible response because it's not always the same thing that happened. But we get into these patterns, which are responses, reactions to stored peptides. I mean, that's how the body stores our history. Okay? If you look at this is my history, this is my peptide timeline. Exact correspondence. Now, the very, very cool thing is, well, let's take post-traumatic stress.
Okay, that's an introduction to the ICE method. It's based on memory reconsolidation, and I hope I've shown you a bit about how it's consistent with the emotional freedom technique, as I understand it. If you're interested in it, it's an easy method to learn, and I have a lot of information about how to learn it and why it's based in science. So 2 places I want to recommend you to. One is my book, Fibromyalgia Relief. Even though the title is Fibromyalgia Relief, and I wrote it specifically for people with fibromyalgia, it's in general, about the ICE method. The whole first part is about the technique, written very simply, so people who are reading it are saying, yeah, I get that. Second part, same thing, written very simply about memory reconsolidation itself, the science of it. And the third part, about why we live in this culture of stress, this fight or flight culture that we need to calm down from. So that's fibromyalgia relief. It's either available at Amazon or at my website. And if you come to my website, I have a lot of free material there, but I also have a membership community that you can register to be a part of, and I have over 30 training videos for how to do the ICE method in various situations, and also a community of support where people who are interested in the ICE method are in conversation all the time, both about getting better and about the method itself. So there's some resources for you. And in this next segment, we're going to actually look specifically at post-traumatic stress and how it relates to memory reconsolidation and the ICE method that I use with people that I work with. All right, thanks.